What's going on, IF Warriors? It's your boy Edward V, and today we're in my kitchen. Yes, because it's the annual what I eat in a day or full day of eating, whatever the new titles are that you guys love to use for these concept videos. That's what we're doing today. I know you guys have been craving, no pun intended, for this content, so I'm going to go ahead and deliver it for you. So I'm gonna smash up a few things together. Some of it might surprise you, but I'm sure that you guys will be able to enjoy it. Now, without any further ado, let's go ahead and break it down in this video. Stay tuned. So many people believe that when they're trying to eat something or they're constructing some type of food meal for themselves, they always try to go with the what's the healthiest thing I can do kind of scenario. For example, they might do broccoli or they might do chicken, things like that. And also they have a typical thought process of what a meal on a plate normally looks like. And this is because you're grown up to know that you have to have your carbs and your meats and what have you. But because of that system, you tend to actually eat more carbohydrates than anything else. The proportions from calories to carbohydrates is very, very high. And it's not to say that carbohydrates is evil, but you do want to have a certain level of protein. I believe that protein being a good amount on your plate is paramount, or not paramount, but very important. It is the most thermogenic of the three macronutrients. So what I'm going to construct may be a little bit unconventional, but if you understand what I'm talking about in terms of the macros and the calorie count, you'll see that it makes total sense. So keep in mind, for the purposes of this video, I am going to do one complete meal just so that I could kind of condense everything for you guys for your viewing pleasure. And my eating window is from 2 to 6, so I'm right on the money. It's about 5:20 right now. I'll be able to cook all of this and eat it within my eating window. I prolonged it just a little bit so that I can construct everything for you guys and set this up. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and look at what we're gonna be eating. First item on the list is olive oil. And then we're gonna go ahead and move on to sausages. The next item on the list is going to be salmon, and then some popcorn. After that, some peanut butter, and then finally, good old-fashioned ice cream. These are the items that I'm going to consume. All of this here, the variations of how I'm gonna set it up, for example, we're using only 3 sausages from here, and we're using a specific amount from the ice cream, a specific amount from the peanut butter, a specific amount from the popcorn, and even the olive oil, and we have 2 3-ounce salmons here. The total amount is going to be around 1,500 to about 1,600 calories. I'm gonna break down all of the macronutrients for you. But just so that you know, fats is the highest amount in the macronutrient breakdown, and then protein, and then carbohydrates. Like I said before, if you don't plan what you're going to make, the general consensus and the general design of foods or meals or family meals tend to have higher carbohydrate intake than anything else. So you do have to somewhat create a Frankenstein, if you will, of a meal. And trust me, this meal is going to be delicious. Now we're gonna move on to cooking all of these things so you can see the finished product. So like I've always said, the most important thing when you're trying to set up any type of meal or anything like that is to not feel like you're depriving yourself of anything. These are foods that I like to eat that taste good to me, but also carry the macronutrient counts that I'm looking for, as well as staying within the caloric limit that I'm controlling for. So when I'm constructing a meal like this, I'm not gonna use popcorn that's already been seasoned or processed or what have you. I'd rather take it from the kernel itself and be able to start from there. That way I know exactly what's inside the popcorn. So this doesn't have anything in it rather than just the kernels. So we'll go from there, basically starting from scratch making the popcorn. And we don't use a microwave to make it. I have a popcorn maker to make this as well. If you wanna measure calories accurately, this will always be your best friend. Forget about fist size, forget about all those kind of things where you're trying to figure out how big it is or how small it is. This will tell you what the weight of the food is. And when you look at the labels behind it, the nutritional breakdown, it doesn't just tell you the serving size in terms of the size or how many items, it also tells you the weight. You can choose to go by the weight instead. That's what I do so that I can more accurately determine the amount of calories within each individual item. So what I do is I'll make sure that I'm putting the bowl on top where I'm going to pour all of the items, and I'll have it set so that it doesn't account for the bowl itself. That way I can pour how many items I want on it or the amount of grams, and then have the scale determine the grams based off of the food item and not incorporate the bowl itself, so you don't have to do the math for that. This is the popcorn that I'm using. We're gonna go ahead and do 40 grams of this bad boy. We've already pre-weighed the salmon and put them in this individual seals. For the sausages, we're just gonna take 3 of these. And for the olive oil, it's just going to be 1 tablespoon of olive oil in the pan. Now that we got the stove to 400, we're gonna go ahead and put the sausages in. Alexa, set a timer for 12 minutes.
12 minutes, starting now.
So there you have it, guys. Here you are. This is the popcorn, and this is the peanut butter. And I just I like to mix the popcorn in with the peanut butter. I might not even eat all of the peanut butter, but because I have the peanut butter there, I could eat it on its own if I want. It's part of my caloric intake for this meal. Then we have the sausages and the salmon, and of course, remember that 10 to 15% that I told you about indulging. That's butter pecan ice cream. Peanut butter pecan ice cream, vanilla ice cream with chocolate chips inside of it. And all of this put together is within my calorie count. Just so that you're aware, I try to even out all of the macronutrients, but have carbohydrates be less than all the other ones. That's why this looks predominantly protein heavy. However, it is 110 grams of fat, 79 grams of protein, and 68 grams of carbohydrate. I'm also gonna down it with my seltzer water, which this is flavored, but it is naturally essence flavored. So it's not It's not sweetened or anything. Naturally, essence is probably the best if you want to get some flavor from your seltzer water. I like to drink water when I eat this stuff because I don't want to account for calories within my water. I'd rather just eat my food or get my calories from my food. I did use for the salmon a few seasoning things like parsley and garlic, peppers, but nothing that carried any significant calorie count. And that's it, man. I'm gonna go ahead and down this whole thing. The total amount is about 1,600 calories. The actual amount is 1,582, but considering that we are in a pandemic and we can't really go to the gym, do a lot of things that I normally would do, I am very conscious of the calorie intake. So I wanna make sure that I'm controlling for my calorie intake, which is why I have this about 1,600 calories. Hopefully this helped you guys. Hopefully it gave you guys some ideas. And as always, I wanna go ahead and thank my patrons for my Patreon. I'm gonna go ahead and put their names right up here. And as always, guys, I'll see you on Wednesday for another FAQ. Peace.